No, the thumbnail is not clickbait. I'm retiring my old Glock 17, so Gen 5 Glock 17. I'm retiring this from my duty use. It's served me well, been reliable, been trustworthy, but out with the old and in with the new. This is a Gen 6 Glock 19, and this is going to be my new duty carry gun, both plainclothes and in a march capacity. So got it out here on the range. We're gonna do some shooting around with it. I'll talk about it, and yeah. All right, so we're gonna cold start it. I like to start all my range days out with a cold start. We're gonna be doing the Gateway Performance Standards. Just the first drill. It's gonna be 2 bill drills with a reload, basically. So sits, reloads, sits. A-class hit factor is gonna be 12. Do a little test beep. This is done from 7 yards. All right, completely cold. See where I'm at. Fuck. Sits 20, 1 Charlie. Let's see what that puts me at really quick. I'm pretty sure that's not, I think it's 5 seconds all alpha or something like that. Yeah, it's a 935 hit factor. Sits 20 for the time, 11 alphas, 1 Charlie. I mean, you could probably see it on the video. When I went to do the reload, I got kind of fumbled up. So I like to use the cold starts to kind of see where I'm at, obviously, but kind of guides me for the rest of the day. I think I was a little slow coming out of the holster for sure, but I think a lot of my time was lost in the reload. So let's do some reloads. We'll do some just 1 reload 2. I like to do 1 reload 2 because it forces you to make sure you've established your grip coming back up after the reload, versus, you know, you do your reload and then you just punch the gun out and shoot. You know, at close distances, it's not that hard to just punch out really quick and get an alpha. So 2 forces you to reset your grip properly and get 2 shots out there. So let's do that a little bit. This will be from the draw also. Fuck, see? Keyhole that second round. My eyes were here. I believe that was 2 rounds right here. There's 1, 2. So his first shot, second shot, third shot is what I believe happens. Because my eyes were locked in right there, especially for the second round. All alphas again. Reload felt a little better. It was 356, first shot 137. It's like it was a 2-second reload, so definitely can speed that up a lot. Felt good. 321. Sorry, 143 for the first shot and a 157 reload. Still maintaining all alphas. I dropped 1 Charlie that second shot. Ugh. I saw the dot like track up, like my gun was kind of doing this thing, and it came down in recoil and ended up right here. 332, first shot 130, 180 reload. Oh, I dragged that first shot on the reload over just at the last second. Let's see, it's a 138 first shot, 167 reload. First shot was a Charlie. Tried to push the pace a little bit on my first shot time. Yeah, it was a 116 first shot, but it was a Charlie. 194 reload. Got a little hung up there. So, Glock 19 Gen 6. Let's talk about it really quick, and then we'll do some more shooting. But, you know, the major difference is, this guy's clear also, by the way. Major difference is between the two. Obviously, this is a 17, this is a 19, but aside from that, the grip texture obviously is the big one with the undercut here, and then the extended beaver tail from the factory. You can see just how much that comes out compared to the Gen 5s. And obviously the grip texture is very, very different. In practice, it feels really, really good. The extended palm swell is very minor but noticeable, in my opinion. And then it kind of, get the shadow, you can see it kind of cuts in right here, pretty deep. And really, it makes the gun feel less blocky in the hands. It feels just like perfectly rounded off to fit my hands pretty well, actually. Is this something that I would recommend, or something that I would say you need to go upgrade from a 5 to a 6? Probably not. If you got the extra money laying around and you want to, definitely have at it. It's definitely just incrementally better, I would say, but it's not something that, if you already have a Gen 5 and it's, you know, it's working well for you, maybe you'd have to go into a little bit of debt or something like that to get it. I don't think it's worth the upgrade just for that. If you've got the extra money, cool. It's definitely, I'd say, a little bit nicer to shoot, but it's not groundbreaking. I think it definitely is just refined just enough to make it pleasant, but I don't think it's like a necessary upgrade or anything like that. I picked one up because I needed a gun to carry both in my duty holster when I was riding in a marked unit, you know, patrol uniform capacity, and then also something I could throw into a appendage rig and carry concealed if I go plainclothes. And I just wanted to have one gun to do both of those things. So that's why I ended up going for the 19, because I didn't have a gun to do that. So I figured why not just get a Gen 6 19. I can use it for work, and then obviously did some content out of it. Let y'all know my thoughts. I haven't watched any videos really on this thing in terms of like other influencers and what they're saying about this gun. I watched, you know, the SHOT Show interviews and stuff where they talked about the changes, but I haven't watched anything from other content creators or anything about this thing. So all these opinions are just my opinions alone, unfiltered. I've got no affiliation with Glock or anything like that. But yeah, it's a sick gun. If you got extra money, if you want to pick one up for collector's sake or whatever, yeah, it's a cool gun. I definitely think the texture is like a huge upgrade just in the texture feeling. But it's also nothing that you can't just take, you know, a Gen 5 and get this stippled and it's going to feel the same. So take that for what it is. Let's go and move on to another drill. All right, so we started out doing reload drill. The other part of kind of what was going on, at least in my perspective, was that first shot time, and you saw that through the reload drill as well. My first shot is just super duper low, and considering this is a gun I'm going to carry on duty, I've got it running out of my Safariland holster here. It's the same one that I use in my 17 currently. So let's try to get that time down a little bit. I'm just going to draw 2 shots, trying to maintain all alphas. First shot was low right C zone. Really tried to push that pace. Yeah, it was a 112. Let's try to keep that pace. Line breaker in the alpha. First shot was a 116. Line breaker was that first. I had intended this to be a hat camera video only, but my hat camera died. So figured I'd talk a little bit while I reload MADs. Specifically because it has to do with MADs. So one thing that's been like in question about the Gen 6s is, look, what backwards what backwards compatibility is there. Will all the Gen 5 stuff work? Will only some of it? Starting out with magazines, all the magazines I have work. Interestingly enough, I know people were saying with the Gen 5s that the Metgar mads were having a hard time like feeding. I didn't really personally test this after I got my Staccato. But since I've had the Gen 6, I've been using these Metgars a lot in competition and practice. I haven't had any issues. So I know a buddy of mine, we were at the range once, and he tried to pop one of these in his gun, which is a Gen 5 17. And he was having failed feeds and all that kind of stuff go on. But in the Gen 6, I've had zero issues with these mads. Additionally, holster-wise, it seems like the Gen 6 will fit all the Gen 5 holsters, so even some other ones. So like this is my Staccato HD holster from Alpha Omega Kydex. It fits in here just fine, probably because it goes off of the light. Mainly, but it fits in this holster. So this is what I ran it with at the match. Obviously, the Safariland 17 holster holds it fine. You do, if you have an SRO or an RMR HD, you do have to either shave down the ALS piece on the inside so that it'll indent's right, or I know some of the newer Safarilands have that shape down from the factory already, so should be good to go there. Now, when it comes to the triggers, I did try and drop the performance trigger from my 17, the Glock performance trigger. I did try to drop it in this one. It does not fit. The sort of void that's in the back of the grip here, where the trigger sits. In the Gen 5s, it's a little bit, there's a little bit more space. So I don't know what or why they changed it, but the space that's in here is a little bit smaller. Like the way it tapers down, it tapers sooner, I guess is a good way to put it. But I guess that could also be a difference between the 19 and the 17. So I don't have a 17 to try it on the 17. So the Gen 5 performance trigger for a 17 will not fit in the Gen 6 19. We'll leave it at that. Yeah, sorry for the kind of weird, like, camera nonsense going on. I'm using the bad to block the sun, which is, like, right there. Just so it doesn't blow out the footage, but like I said already, I don't think it's like necessary 100% to upgrade from a 5 to a 6. It's more of like just a nice to have thing. At the end of the day, it's still a Glock. It shoots like a Glock. In the hand, I'd say it feels a little bit better than a Glock, right? Because it doesn't feel as blocky. That's kind of what Glock has always been known for, is just how blocky they feel in the hand. And I don't get that at all with the 19. Even comparing it to a Gen 5 19. Oh, guess that was my part-time. Even comparing it to another 19 I've shot, it doesn't feel like a Glock in the hand, you know? It's a little bit more rounded off and it feels good. Now, really, like, the only major thing is obviously the grip texture. I'd say the grip texture and a little bit the trigger. Let's adjust the trigger really quick so you can kind of see. But you have, the normal Glock take-up, and you have a pretty distinct wall, and then a break. So I'd say it feels a little less mushy than a Gen 5. It's not crazy. It's not as good as the Glock performance trigger, which has been a point of contention for me for a long time, because the Glock performance trigger, in my opinion, is the trigger that should be in every Glock. It should come from the factory like that, especially on the MOS versions. It's just better. I do wish they could figure out how to get that in the gun from the factory, and I'm pretty annoyed that they don't have the backwards compatibility with the aftermarket triggers. I think if I could throw that performance trigger in this magazine, I'd be infinitely more happy with the gun. I'm still happy with it. It feels good. It shoots like a Glock. It shoots good. The reliability is going to be there, but I just really prefer that Glock performance trigger over the stock trigger. And everybody who I've shown it has agreed with that sentiment. Obviously there's various other types of triggers, like the Timney triggers and the Johnny Glotz triggers and stuff like that, but for a duty trigger that I would carry on duty, that's not stupid light and all of that nonsense, I think the performance trigger is probably the best upgrade you can make to your Glock. That's not super expensive, so I hope to see something like that come out for the Gen 6s. If it does, I'm gonna buy that thing like immediately. Just better, like, fundamentally better. So, all right, so we're gonna shoot a little bit of doubles just to see how this thing returns. I ran out of pasters, so like these hits are gonna have to stay, but I'm gonna be kind of holding around here and trying to get my doubles around here and see where they're at. So we'll come out to 7-ish, right about here, and shoot some doubles. Do it again. So it would lock in on that last one pretty well. See kind of what we got. So my last set, I was able to keep everything kind of right in here. Can definitely be better. Still pulling some low and still pulling some left on those first couple sets, but the last set I was able to lock in. Let's do it again. See if I'm able to keep the consistency. Dropped one high. Just for reference, 18, 17, 16.
Yeah.
Definitely opens up a lot more when I speed up those split times. Gun feels good though, man. It really does feel good. For a Glock, at least. I was able to pretty much lock all of that in. 22, 20, 21, 20. I mean, that was all like right here, man. So yeah, it feels good. It returns well. It's Glock. What can you say, right? So, all right, let's finish this thing out. We'll do the Gateway performance standards again. So, sits, reload sits. Obviously, this is not cold anymore, so let's see if there is any performance difference. A lot more Charlies. Shit. 481 was the time. So a lot faster on the time. We've got 1, 2, 3 Charlies. Let's see what that comes out to. 11:23. So that's why I like hit factor a lot, is because it's like the only metric where you can accurately assess that all-important balance of speed versus accuracy. So like, this is about the size of a normal human-sized target. And so from a law enforcement perspective, you want to get hits on paper. You want to get hits on people, right? You don't want to have any misses. Whether you're hitting them here or here, it's not that huge of a difference. Obviously, it kind of gets sketchy when you start hitting in D zones. But if you drop a couple Charlies here, you can see the hit factor goes up like a lot. And so that's why I like hit factor scoring for this kind of stuff. Because like if this was an engagement, right? You got 12 rounds on paper. Like, this is going to be an effective grouping to neutralize a threat, right? I don't think anybody's going to argue with that. It was done in less than 5 seconds with a reload, 12 rounds reload under 5 seconds. Is it good by any stretch of the imagination? No. Obviously, like an A-class standard, which is, to me, the standard that law enforcement should be held to. I want to be an A-class standard, close, but just not quite there yet. But like, this was real life, and my life was threatened, a teammate's life was threatened, civilian's life was threatened. Like, this would be effective at neutralizing that threat and making sure everybody goes home at the end of the day. So let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Let me know if you have any questions about the Glock 19 Gen 6 or just the Gen 6s at all. Again, I think it feels really good. Topped off by an RMR HD, and then I'm going to be moving my mod light on here when I get the holster in for from Alpha Omega. But yeah, this thing feels good. If you got the extra money, I'd definitely say it's worth a pickup, but I wouldn't go to debt over this, or I wouldn't feel like it's 100% necessary to upgrade from a 5 to a 6. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching the video. Have a good day.